Hey there, welcome back to Chiara's Slow Travel Adventures. If you're new here, I'm Chiara, your guide for all things slow travel, sustainable adventures, and long-term traveling. Today we're diving deep into a very important topic when it comes to traveling, especially long-term, which is travel insurance. Today I'm giving you all my best tips and advices for choosing the perfect travel insurance that will fit your travels the best, whether you're going on a short getaway or a long-term adventure. Let's just dive into it. Okay, first of all, let's talk about why travel insurance is so important. So picture this. You are exploring a beautiful temple in Thailand, or maybe you are strolling around the markets in Vietnam, or just doing some snorkeling in Indonesia, and then something unexpected happens. Say that maybe in that market in Vietnam you decide to taste for the very first time a food you never tried before, and that's actually quite normal. I always do it. You should try things. That's why we travel, to explore with all our senses, and you try it, and after a few hours you realize that that food did not agree with your body, or vice versa, and you get sick. So the thing is, whether it's because you get a small illness, or you get sick, you get injured, you lose your luggage, your flight gets delayed, your travel gets delayed, there are so many reasons that you really truly want to have a travel insurance when you're traveling, and why it's so essential. You truly want to think about all the unexpected. It's one of those situations where it's better be safe rather than sorry. So we said why it's so important to have a travel insurance, and why we should not skip, so that our actual dream travel doesn't become an actual nightmare. So now I'm going to give you my best tips when it comes to choosing the right travel insurance for your own adventures. Tip number 1, know what you need. Know what you need. What I mean is, are you going to hike the Himalaya, or are you going to spend your vacation on a beach in Bali? Because of course these two different types of traveling will determine what kind of travel insurance you might need. Different situations and different travel insurance apply to different situations, so you really want to make sure that your travel insurance covers and has policies that covers the kind of activities you're going to do, because some travel insurance will not actually cover extra or extreme activities, so you really want to make sure you check on that. Tip number 2, comprehensive coverage. Remember to make sure that your travel insurance has comprehensive coverage that will cover medical expenses, lost luggage, flight delays, and evacuation or cancellations. All those things might apply for any kind of travel, so make sure you pick a comprehensive one. It's one of those situations where you'd rather be safe rather than sorry. Tip number 3, check the exclusions. Check the exclusions. Read the fine print. Read carefully what is actually not included in your travel insurance, so that you know what you want to be covered with in case you decide to do something like that. Tip number 4, read the claim process. What I mean is, different policies, different travel insurance will have different claim processes. So make sure you know what you need to do in case of an emergency, and truly read through all maybe other travelers' reviews, so that you know exactly what is the process in case of an emergency, so that you don't end up maybe trying to go to a hospital and asking for a refund, but you're not actually allowed to have that. So make really sure that you know in advance what you're supposed to do and what numbers maybe you might need to contact in case of an emergency. Tip number 5, compare prices and reviews. Finally, compare prices and reviews when it comes to choosing your travel insurance. You really don't want to pick the best price, because this is one of the situations where you'd rather spend a little bit more and make sure that everything is covered. Read other people's review also to know how the travel insurance actually helped them through the process and if it was easy and smooth going. There are also many websites you can use. I know some are Squaremouth and Insure My Trip when it comes for America or international users. There are some that apply only maybe to your own country, so you might just want to Google like best travel insurance on the internet, and I'm sure you will find one of those platforms that will help you in the process of comparing, seeing reviews, and you really want to dive deep into that and read all the details. Once you've actually choose maybe one or two, compare the prices, but also compare what is included in one and the other, and then you will decide what is the best one that fits your needs. And here's a bonus tip. Remember to make sure that your travel insurance covers COVID-19. We've all been through the pandemic, and we all know that that changed so much the way we actually travel, and some travel insurance will not comprehend COVID-19 in the medical emergencies. It's going to be an extra, so make sure that COVID-19 is included, because if you get it, you just get it. You know what I mean. Now let's briefly talk about some of the differences in travel insurance when it comes to, depending on where you're from, what region of the world you're from. So when it comes to the United States, for example, usually travel insurance tend to be more expensive but more comprehensive. So probably the medical range will be higher, but do make sure that everything is included. So what I mean is, for example, if you have a health insurance, you think that that might be enough because it covers the entire world, well, that might not apply to certain countries, so you really want to look into that. Now, travel insurance in Europe is a little bit different. Usually it's more affordable. Also, if you are European and you're traveling within the European Union, you will have the what is called EHIC card, which is basically a health insurance that covers all Europe, most of Europe, for all European citizens. So remember, you need to be a European citizen traveling in Europe to actually have access to healthcare within the Union. But that, remember, does not include things like travel cancellation, lost luggages, delays, and so on. So when you're traveling, make sure maybe you buy a travel insurance just for that, if you want to make sure that you need it and that you will be covered for that as well. And speaking of which, short story time, I was sick when I was, for example, in the United Kingdom, when it was still part of the European Union. And what happened was that I was sick. I ate something I shouldn't have, just like the example before. And it was really bad for 3 long, very long days. So on my 3rd day, I was so done. I was like, I couldn't even stand anymore. So I decided to go to the hospital. And there the process was quite linear. I just sat there, waited my turn. They checked me over. They said, oh, you know, it's just probably something you ate. So I was like, oh, yeah, okay, but I'm dying here, please help. So they gave me an IV that really kind of sparked up my energy for a little while. And once I was done, I left the building and that was it. That's how easy it is when it comes to having EHIC. I know, sweet deal, right? And finally, travel insurance in the rest of the world. Now, when it comes to the rest of the world, whether you're going there or you're coming from there, actually travel insurance will really change a lot depending on what country you're going or what country you're coming from. Usually in Asia, for example, they tend to be more affordable, but the actual coverage limit is actually smaller. So you might want to check on that and don't cheap out. Remember that if you go to countries, say the United States, and you really want to be safe rather than sorry, remember that healthcare in some countries is really, really expensive, and a $50,000, for example, coverage limit might not be enough. It can be if it's a small injury, but say that it's something bigger. I always hope for you that it's not, but it might happen. Then $50,000 might not be enough. So rather be safe than sorry. Spend maybe $50 more, but make sure that you're actually covered. And fun fact, well, not really fun, but it's a story time for you to truly show you that how important it is, travel insurance, because it was for me for sure. As I said before, I needed it for the United Kingdom, but not just that, I actually needed it in China too, and not once, but twice within the same trip. So I think I spent around, at that time, I was living for 5 months, around maybe 400 maybe total euros for the entire travel insurance. But I actually needed to go to the hospital twice while I was there. Once I was climbing a tree, I know, great adventures, smart choices while you're traveling. I was climbing a tree and a branch, a small branch, pinched my hand, but the actual cut was quite deep and it needed to be checked by a doctor in the hospital, and that was once. And then the second time I had some kind of, as in the United Kingdom, some kind of virus, probably from the water. Good tip to give you is that Chinese water needs to be boiled before you drink it. I did not know that. Now I do, so I'm letting you know. In a lot of countries, you either drink, I know, I should have known. But that's why I'm sharing. That's why we learn to not make the same mistake twice. You should always drink water from a closed bottle or boil it. I didn't know that. I drank the water, and yeah, that were 3 long days. So I had to go to the hospital, and it was such a smooth process. I called them and they said, yeah, just go in, take care of the things, and within 2 hours they visited me, they tested me, they gave me their result, the medicines. I was out of there and I spent 0. Well, the travel insurance I paid for, okay, but the rest I spent 0. And they truly told me that just me entering the hospital would have been way more than the actual price I paid for the travel insurance. So that's why it's so important. You can really never know what is going to happen, and you truly rather be safe than sorry. Also, when you travel, I feel like I don't want anything in the way of my great adventures. So what I mean is, sometimes spending a little bit more, whether it's in time and in money, might really make you travel more mind-free. So when you travel, you don't really want to say, oh, but what if maybe they offer me to go for a hike in the jungle and you get bitten by a snake and you need urgent assistance, but you know, an ambulance can't really go through the jungle, so the rescue team is a special unit and that is expensive, or whatever. I'm just making that up, of course, but things like this can actually happen. So the question is, think before leaving, and while you're planning, would you rather give up on great, amazing experiences during your adventures just because you wanted to save a few bucks, or would you rather be spending a little bit more but be completely mind-free once you're there, that nothing is going to be in the way between you and your great experiences? I know the answer for me. I'm always for trying new things, so I won't let that stop me, that's for sure. So, to wrap things up, having the right travel insurance when you're traveling, especially long term like us, it's really super important. But even if it's a short trip, you never know what is going to happen. So if you have any kind of travel insurance tips or stories that you'd like to share, please do so in the comments below and share it with the rest of the community. It truly helps to know what other people experienced as well. And remember, of course, to give me in the comments some ideas or what else would you like to see in the channel, because that truly helps me create content that you care about the most. With that said, please remember, of course, to like the video if it helped you, share it and subscribe, and comment down below with any of your experiences. I'll see you in our next adventures. Bye!